Can you see my hairy legs? Yes or no?
No, I can see you from the waist up.
Waist up. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly how I like to be seen.
Etcetera, etcetera. How the bloody hell are you?
Oh, I am absolutely fantastic. You know, no one tells you that being eliminated from a reality show is going to be so much fun. But, you know, while you're on it, you're watching the episode every week and you're going, oh my God, what are they going to say about me? What am I going to do? And then you get off the show and my God, it's like this outpouring of love where all the fans, they tell you how much they liked you and you go on this journey where everyone says how wonderful you were and they're so sad you're gone. It's great. For someone who loves attention as much as I do, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, and also, you know, you don't have to kind of keep the secrets about what's coming up next or whatever. It's kind of over, right?
Exactly. I can stop telling drunk people that come to see me at my shows, oh yeah, you watch, I'll win. I can say, well, I didn't win. You can stop asking now. You know, everyone says, oh, you won. I know that you won. And I say, well, you don't know now. You know nothing.
Well, etcetera, look, we're not here to fuck spiders today. We're going to be making you a yearbook to celebrate your time on the show. But there's a catch. You must nominate your fellow queens in the following yearbook categories. The only rule is you can't nominate yourself. Have you understood?
I've understood loud and clear. Although, what if I was here today to fuck spiders? What if I was? What would you do about it, huh?
We'll save that and use it on OnlyFans later, maybe.
Oh, look, I'm open to alliances. I'm open to collaboration.
Category is Best Look.
Oh, I would have to say the best look of the episode for me would be Art Simone and her Kath Day Night impersonation. Simply for the pure campery of it.
Oh my God.
I don't think there's ever been a camper look to walk the main stage of RuPaul's Drag Race. That was the funniest thing I've seen in my entire life.
When she did like the little calf jig as well.
What I can tell you about that is she was practicing that little jig backstage for the whole day prior. And she just watch her, you know, jigging around the workroom, just a little bit of a bounce around. I was going, what are you doing? And she said, you'll get it when you see my runway tomorrow. And she did it. She bought it on the runway.
You know, I've actually got an appropriate mug for this interview today. There we go.
You brought it. That's very clever. You prepared.
I prepared, bitch. Well, you know what? Each week I make a best and worst dress list as I'm watching the episode. And I must say, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I really loved your outfit. You were on the top of my list.
Oh, thank you so much.
It was so camp, so over the top. So tell me a little bit about that look.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said I couldn't nominate myself, but if I could have nominated myself, I would have been best look of the week. It was a tribute to the regenerative power of the Australian bush. I mean, we have horrific bushfires here in Australia, and it's this story about the resilience of Australian nature, and I wanted to kind of channel that beauty found through pain and through trauma, and tell a kind of a story about myself and my own life through the metaphor of Australian bush. A lot of people saw it and they say, I don't get it. You know what, honey? It's not for you to get. It's not for you to understand. You can understand the meaning of metaphor and symbolism. Go back to English class. It was a gorgeous look, and I think I delivered it beautifully.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But sadly, your yeast spread advert let you down a little. Now, I always find these challenges really, really funny on the show because obviously each time Ru challenges the queens to make an advert and the results are always quite interesting. So what did you think about the challenge?
Well, look, I never thought I'd be on international TV selling a jar of my own yeast spread. But here I am. It definitely wasn't one of the challenges on Drag Race that I prepared for, you know? Like with Snatch Game, you can be like, oh, I rehearsed my character. With the design challenge, you're like, oh, I'll sew a few dresses to make sure I've got that down pat. Then Ru pulls out a jar of yeast, and I'm like, well, I didn't eat enough Vegemite before I came here, so I have no idea what I'm going to do. It was a shock to all of us. Even though my ad didn't go down well with the judges, I think it would have gone down a treat if I did that performance in nightclub at 3 a.m. And unfortunately, that's all I know how to do.
Well, you know, there were some grumbles online about some people who felt Ru and Michelle don't quite understand the humour. Do you think that was basically the case with your advert?
I think there was a lot of things lost in translation across the season. A lot of comedy that was missed, a lot of Australian references. There were jokes that were made. I remember there was one point where someone called someone a mole, and Rue was like, "What's a mole?" And it's like, "Oh, that's an Australian thing that we call people all the time. Oh, you dirty mole, or you filthy mole." And so I think it's interesting to see that, you know, there is slang that we use here in Australia that we expect everyone to be like, "Oh yeah, I know what that means." And then when they don't, we're like, "Oh, maybe we're a bit weirder than we think we are," you know? Like Reese Nicholson understood a lot of the references, and in between, you know, he would say to Rue and Michelle, "Oh, this means this," and they'd be like, "Ah." Like with Chappelle Corby, Rue had no idea who Chappelle Corby was. Absolutely no idea at all. And that was so funny because Chappelle Corby is someone that I think everyone in Australia has known since they were growing up younger. She's like a cult, like almost celebrity here. So it was so funny for the first time in my life for someone to be like, "Who the hell is Chappelle Corby?"
Well, and Art Simone told us that Rue didn't know who Bindi Irwin was. So that's the kind of level that we're kind of dealing with, I guess.
Yeah, and to be honest, I wouldn't expect him to know all these references. So it was, I suppose it was interesting to see Australian drag on the international stage and see how international audiences respond to what we do. Because we all turned up and we were like, right, we'll just do what we do best. And then we were like, oh, we do this best, but not everyone understands us, apparently. Apparently, Michelle told Art when she was doing her infomercial filming that they were going to put subtitles on the bottom because she couldn't understand what Art was saying in her thick Melburnian accent.
Category is Class Clown.
Oh, it would have to be Miss Coco Jumbo. Oh, Miss Coco Jumbo. Every time we were sitting backstage, and you know, in reality TV, you're not meant to talk when the cameras aren't rolling. Okay, you got to stay quiet. And every time a door would open or someone would walk in, Coco would go, or someone would drop a cup, and she'd be like, it would be so funny. I mean, you saw at the end of her lip sync when she put her arms up being silly, and she was making us laugh the whole time. Coco is such a class clown. She's the funniest queen off camera out of the entire season. She was making us all laugh the whole time.
I think everyone said that in these interviews so far. And she's very lovable as well. When I chatted with her, she seems like a very sweet person.
She is the sweetest. She does not have a bad bone in her body unless she's eaten some KFC and forgotten to chew.
Well, look, we must talk about the other big moment in the show, which is obviously Scarlett Adams being confronted by Rue about the photos of her in blackface. Now, viewers noticed there wasn't an untucked, so we didn't see what happened after the judges' critiques when you guys got backstage. So can you fill us in on what happened?
To be honest, I think what happened isn't really important. I think what's important is the conversation that's going to come out of this after the show. I think seeing a bunch of white queens sitting backstage and untucked discussing what a person of colour said to Scarlett isn't really something that people need to see. I think what needs to be platformed and highlighted now are the voices of people of colour and their opinions and their take on it. And I suppose the ball's now in Scarlett's court as to what she's going to choose to do, not just to say she's sorry, but to show she's sorry and to make reparations and to move forward and build constructively on top of this. So I think they're the conversations we really should be focusing on, the wider systemic issues of racism within the community. Because the drag scene, like I said on the show, is racist as fuck. It is so racist. And all of my friends who are people of colour and perform in the drag scene are like, it is shocking how many people are unaware of how you can be gay and you can be racist. You can be gay and be misogynistic. Being queer does not absolve you of being prejudiced. And I think that needs to be talked about more, especially in the context of drag and queer performance.
Do you think that this kind of whole episode then could have quite an impact on those conversations in the drag communities where you are?
Definitely. I know it's already started a bunch of conversations, and I hope it starts more conversations. But I also hope that people of colour don't have to hold the burden or bear the brunt of those conversations, you know? This is really a time for allies to be amplifying and highlighting the voices of those people and to be creating positive environments for them to walk into. We want to create backstage areas that are welcoming and comfortable for people of colour. We want people on the mic to not use slurs when they're talking on the mic to audiences. We want to create environments that people can walk into and they can feel like that they're going to be safe. I think that should be the bare minimum for any workplace. And drag is a workplace. And so it should be treated that way.
Well said.
You know, I can only say what I think, and I'm honest. I'm an honest bitch, so you just got to take it.
Category is Shadiest Queen.
Now, there was a hilarious conversation in the workroom where you were like, who, me? Shady? So firstly, who do you think is the shadiest queen of the season?
Well, I can't nominate myself, and I wouldn't nominate myself. You know what? I'm going to have to say Miss Anita Wiglet.
Oh.
That's just because she's so nice that when she was shady, we'd all be like, aha, she's so nice. And then we'd think about it and we go, wait, that bitch just read us for absolute filth and got away with it because she's so nice. She can get you that one. She'll walk around, she'll say something really nasty and disguise it with a little smile. And you go, oh, Anita, you're just being funny. And then a second later, you're like, oh my God, she really got me then. Yeah, you got to keep an eye out for her.
Well, talking of reads, obviously the reading challenge was so funny. I thought Art's read of you was probably the funniest. Were there any other good ones that didn't make it to air?
To be honest, not many of them were very good. I was expecting a lot of the queens to be a lot better, and no one had good reads for me. The only people that had good reads for me were Kita and Art. The rest were all so bad that they got cut because they just weren't funny at all. I think someone was just like, Etcetera Etcetera, she's so annoying. And I was like, all right, okay. Well, that's not a joke, just a fact. But I had a good read. I had a few good reads that didn't make it in. Oh, what did I say for I actually can't repeat that one. That one will get me in trouble. That's probably why they cut it. I was going to say a read about Anita. I was going to say, Anita Wiglet, I always know when you're about to turn up because your nose enters the room 10 minutes before you do. That was one.
Well, we'll make sure we clip that and send that directly to Anita. We'll fill her in for you.
It'll be the nicest thing I've ever said to her.
Category is Miss Congeniality.
I'm voting for Miss Maxi Shields. That's just like all of our mums. And that's not because of her age. It's because she genuinely has the most kind maternal energy out of anyone there. She would walk into the room at the start of the day and she's like, oh, girls, I've just been to the catering table and they have some really good sausage rolls this morning. They have some lovely pastries. Everyone get a bit. You know, she was making sure everyone was fed and warm and happy. And she is the sweetest person. I love Maxi so much. Actually, on the weekend, we restaged our elimination lip sync in the same costumes at the bar that she works at. I turned up there and she did absolutely everybody in a little picnic at Hanging Rock frock. And I jumped up on stage and did an impromptu lip sync with her and the audience loved it. And she is the most fun and she is the sweetest and she's such a good sport.
Oh, and if she's got sausage rolls and pastries as well, even better.
I know she should. Honestly, if she was my high school lunch lady, I would have had the best time. Can you imagine Maxi Shields lady? She's like, it's soup today. Hello, it's soup today.
Category is Biggest Bogan.
Oh my goodness. I mean, they're all pretty bogan, but I would probably have to say Etcetera, just because you could pay for parking through the gap in her teeth. Like, honestly. No, but Etcetera, I think Etcetera's the biggest bogan because I could totally see her like drinking beer with the boys, you know, like down at the pub having a beer. But you know, that's why everyone's saying she's the trade of the season. Yeah. Bogan's a tradey, and Etcetera's got that trade vote from a lot of people. So I've heard.
Okay, the last thing is we always end these videos with a yearbook quote. So it can be absolutely anything, Etcetera. What would you like to be remembered by?
I would like to be remembered by the quote. Oh, this is a good one. Actually, do you actually know what my high school yearbook quote actually was? Because I'll use that for that. It was, none of this will matter when you're dead.
Bleak, but true. Yes, love
exactly. That. It's just a realistic thing. When you're having a bad day, just remember, none of this will matter when you're dead. None of it.
Not a joke, just a fact.
And that's what's got me through life, remembering that no matter what I'm experiencing, one day I will be decaying on the ground and roaches will be eating my body and I will return into the great circle of life.
Lovely. Etcetera, plug yourself. Where can we find you and what are you up to next?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Etcetera Etcetera, long form, both words, no spaces. And on Twitter, I am Glamourbug. My website is glamourbug.com and you can buy wonderful merch. And I just dropped my first debut single. It is called Flush. It has a lot of toilet humor for those who enjoy that. And it is now on Spotify and Apple Music, streaming now. So stream it. Stream it.
Yeah, do stream it. It is very good. The breakdown at the end is quite crazy. I loved it.
It sounds kind of like me when I'm like throwing up after a big night out.
Delightful.
That's me.
Etcetera. So lovely chatting with you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your, I think it's evening over there, and good luck with the single and everything else.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Cool. See you later. Bye.
Bye.